Hello and welcome to Gadget Joe, and today is episode 1 of the client subscriber builds. I often get asked if I can build a system for people. I've done that in the past before, where I've built systems and then I've just sort of moved on to the next thing, and then obviously I've got the channel as well. So what I thought I'd do is I'd combine the two. I've decided to create a new series, and this is the first of many. I've already got some other ones lined up. This is of course the subscriber build series. There's no real schedule on these, so they are going to be updated or uploaded as and when I get them, and I'll be doing them. For the first one of the series, we have everything here to build a system, and then at the end of this video you'll see everything running, and I'm going to do a quick benchmark on it to make sure everything works fine. This build is for my best friend's stepson. It is for a Christmas present. They've had a bit of money saved aside, and he's had some money saved aside, and he's given me it, and I've gone to my good friends over at Scan, and as you can see, I added everything to the basket, simply pressed order, and the best thing about ordering from Scan is it's next day delivery. So I've got everything here pretty much ready to go. It's all brand new. I've got a NZXT H7 Flow case, nice large open case that's got plenty of space to work in. It looks quite nice and modern. This was actually picked by the young man himself. We've got the ASRock B450 Steel Legend motherboard. This obviously is an AM4 board. We've got this because of the fact that it's within the price range, and also probably one of the best performing boards on the price range again. Running that, we've got somewhere along here, we've got the Ryzen 7 5700X, an 8-core 16-thread processor. Again, not an incredibly expensive processor, but certainly a very capable one. We also have Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro 16GB sticks. We have 2 of those in the pack, making 32GB at 2666 MHz speed. Then we have the MSI Ventus 2X RTX 3060 12GB GDDR6. So it should be more than capable of playing a lot of the games that he wants to play at quite decent settings as well. Running that, we have the Corsair CX650 80 Plus Bronze PSU, and that is obviously going to power everything on here. So far I've got everything rated at around about 550, maybe 600 watts. So this should be more than enough to power everything. Then when it comes to cooling, we have the Thermaltake TH240 ARGB 240mm AIO. That should keep the processor nice and cool, even under load, so that everything runs nice and smoothly. Not only that, he is a teenager, so he's going to go for all the RGB, hence the RGB Pro RAM and the RGB AIO. I do also have a box of 5 addressable RGB fans. They're not brand names, they're just basic fans that come with a controller, so that can control everything. So it looks like a unicorn's party in there. Perfect for a teenage gamer. Obviously you can then change everything as he needs to make the right theme, the colour. Everything is going to be completely customizable. When it's all done, it should run perfect and be more than enough for what he needs. And also you've got a bit of future proofing as well, so that he can upgrade things as he goes along. But this is pretty much what I have here. I'm going to get on to the build now, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set the rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. I sit here looking for an answer. Maybe the biggest question was in the last chapter. You gave me the soul I have today. Without you I never could have moved away. But now I see what you teach. I do believe I always should have stayed. Yeah. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. One day I'll be yours. One day I'll be yours. One day I'll be yours. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. Life changes just open the door. One thing's certain, I'll always be yours. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours. Yeah. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
I could be learning, you could be yearning to see what's behind these closed doors. But I promise you, I'll always be
Right, and that pretty much finishes us off for the first of the subscriber build series. As you can see, it looks absolutely fantastic. I've got a few little tweaks that I need to do to it, including changing the colour of the RAM and the RGB on the motherboard, but everything else is pretty much synced in. The only downside that I've actually noticed is that unfortunately the RGB controller for these 5 fans doesn't actually sync with this motherboard, but however you do get a little remote so that you can change through the different colour modes. As you can see here, you can change your different speeds, your modes, obviously different, cycle through them. You've got brightness, you can turn it right up, you can turn it right down, or you can turn it off altogether, and then you can always leave it on auto so it just cycles through. So I'm going to put that on that light blue setting once again, because the AIO that I have on here, which is the Thermaltake TH240 AIO, which I actually did a review video just recently for on the channel, which I will link up in the description, up in the corner here and down in the description below, so that you can get an idea of how it performs. This has its own RGB setup which you can control via the software on your computer, but you also get a little controller which I have installed in place down here, and again you can cycle through the modes. It's a bit difficult to see on the view that you're looking at right now, but I can change through all the different colour modes. That means that Kyle, when he gets this computer, he can basically adjust the system to whatever colour that he so chooses. He does support Man United, don't come at him, I support United as well, but I know some people will be saying things in the comments, but that's fine. If he wants to set it up to all red, then of course he can do it to all red, or he could even set it up completely dependent on the mood of his room or the mood of himself, and that's pretty much that. So as far as customization goes, that's pretty much covered on that. The RGB looks really nice in this case, you can see it through this front mesh panel. The NZXT H7 case is a fantastic case to build in. It was super simple, there's loads of room at the top that gave me access to get all the cabling in there. Everything was just super simple to build in. This little strip on the front that goes in place and screws in is fantastic at hiding the cables that are going in. Obviously you're not going to be able to hide them all altogether. Another nice little touch is that you get a front panel header on this. Something that I wish more cases, more manufacturers would implement on their cases, which basically means that you can just plug it in, it's a block, you don't have to worry about getting it in the right way or fiddling around with a single pin and then trying to get the other pins in. Everything is all included on that. Obviously there's no RGB on the case itself, which in this case is absolutely fantastic because it's one less thing to sync up with everything else. Obviously you've got plenty of space. I've got enough space on the top to put a 360mm radiator, but as you can see I've got the 240 with a 120mm fan right next to it for a little bit extra cooling. Also it fills in that space quite nicely, so there's no real dead spots in the case. There is plenty of space to add extra options as well, so if you did want to further down the line upgrade it to a water cooled setup, he has got the ability to do that. You can of course take that metal strip out and then you've got space for a pump and a reservoir, but for now it's pretty much everything as he needs to go, ready to go. I've done some gaming on it and it performs really quite well. With that 32GB RAM it runs nice and smooth. As far as spec wise, it's pretty much up there as where it's supposed to be, especially for a PC that is around the £1,000 price point. We've got that 32GB of Corsair Vengeance Pro RAM, which looks absolutely fantastic in there. Obviously, as I said earlier, it is currently set just to scroll through the RGB spectrum, but it looks absolutely fantastic and it performs equally just as well. And obviously you've got the CPU, which is the Ryzen 5700X, that's a nice 8-core 16-thread CPU, so that it's more than capable of running most of the demanding games that he's going to be able to throw at this. Obviously you've got that RTX 3060 in there, which looks absolutely fantastic. It would have been nice to maybe add a bit of RGB to that to really tie in with the rest of the thing, but that is something that he could look at doing further down the line. As far as everything else, it just runs perfectly. It was super simple to set up. Moving back to the case is absolutely fantastic to work in. It's really quite impressed me, the fact that you can take every single side panel clean away with just a simple pop of a button. So yeah, that's pretty much the subscriber build number 1. And as you can see, it looks fantastic. I've really enjoyed building this. I enjoyed the building experience in the case. Everything went together quite nice and easily. Obviously you've got plenty of storage space as well, so that if he wants to add more storage further down the line, he can do that. The ASRock B550 has an extra NVMe slot as well, so that he can also utilise that further down the line. Maybe you could go for a slightly bigger cooler, for maybe a 360, but I think for everything that he's going to be using it for, a 240 would be more than adequate. All these case fans also favour assisting in the cooling of the setup. There's ventilation everywhere on this case. The case is really well thought out. There's lots of space and storage. Everything is designed for maximum airflow. The fans are rated at 1500 RPM, which again is not massively fast, but for a case fan it should be more than enough. And that pretty much wraps it up for this build. This is obviously the first of a series. I do have other people wanting me to do builds for them. This one was priced at around the £1,000 price range. Some of the components he already had, so it would have actually worked out a little bit more expensive. But for what I had to work with, it was around a £1,000 price point. So what you're going to get for that is a very capable gaming system, plenty of upgrade options down the line. In some of the future subscriber builds, I've got some people wanting me to go all out, including one of them that wants me to do a complete scratch build. And if you're not sure what a scratch build is, it's where I basically design the case from the ground up, and then I build the case around the system, so it gives a completely unique custom design. So that's something to look forward to. But this has been a pretty simple, pretty easy build, and it's pretty much straight out the box. The fact that you can get everything you need from Scan Computers. There obviously are other places that you can use, but I like to use Scan. I've worked with them for many years. But nonetheless, for a teenager, it's a Christmas present from his parents, and it's quite a fantastic Christmas present. He's very fortunate to get what he's got, and it looks absolutely fantastic, and I don't have any hesitations in believing that he is going to be absolutely over the moon with it. So that's it. That's the first episode of Subscriber Builds, pretty much done. It does obviously have a glass panel, which I've taken off because unfortunately when it comes to filming things with glass panels, it is a nightmare. All you would see is reflections of the light boxes, and you would see reflections of the rest of the workshop, so I've kept that off for the purpose of this video. As you can see, it looks fantastic. I'm really proud of how it looks. So that's pretty much it for this first episode of the Subscriber Build series. And if you are after a system built too, I do offer that service. If you want to leave a comment down below in the comment section, and I will get back to you and liaise with you on that. So that's pretty much it for the first episode. I will leave a link down below to the Scan website so that you can go and have a look yourself if you are in the market for building a new computer. And whilst you're down there, please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. The channel is starting to progress nicely, and I've been Gadget Joe, this has been Kyle's Build, and until next time, goodbye.